Hello and welcome to the history of propaganda. This video is going to be purely speculative, and I will add it to volume 6. But I'm trying to put the pieces together here concerning issues and large-scale problems that were not fixed by the previous Canadian government. In fact, they were exacerbated. And if I didn't say it before, hindsight is 2020. And that means a lot here in Canada. That really does, because we nearly had a civil war because of the vaccine. And as it goes, there's always someone who's pushing for that and trying to edge us over the cliff for their own means, so that the spoils of war can go to the puppeteer. Okay, this is basic analysis of people's behaviors, because once it's in writing, then there's no going back, right? It's history, and it's recorded history, and the most powerful people in our society are the ones that look after the books. And I'm not talking about the financial ones. I'm talking about the history books and the education. So everybody knows that the former Prime Minister was a substitute ski instructor. Or he was a ski instructor, rather, and a substitute drama teacher, if this is factually correct. And let's think about this for a second, okay? What's the typical behavior of someone who's, fed with a silver spoon? Well, if you go by the old worlds and how old money used to treat their children, they would send them to the poorest areas and the most destitute of people, the most oppressed. Whatever. Of course, it had a slang terminology, right? A colloquialism, which is slumming it. And this was intended to bring their children back down to earth so that they wouldn't grow up into spoiled brats with million-dollar cars and little regard for other people's lives. Now, sometimes we inherit things. And you know what? We should. We inherit the entire world, or this country. It used to be that we used to do things for our kids. But somewhere along the line, someone didn't like that. Someone didn't like that. They didn't like how we were prospering, and they sought out to destroy, through political, economic, and coercive means, the very foundations of North America, like right down to the Constitution and to the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. I'm not saying that Trudeau is wholly responsible for all of this, but when it comes, as I said in other videos, when it comes to religious people, there is no one more judgmental of religious people than other religious people, because what they really want is power over someone else. So they use the means of it's not covert, coercion. They use coercion and the threat of death, and they wave it in front of your face, like saying it's just some sort of like macabre display. You know, this will happen to you next, right? That sort of thing. And they use fear, and they use our vices, right? Say, they would use my vice against me, my particular vices, right? Because of virtue, vice and virtue. So Trudeau is French, okay? And as far as human intelligence goes, like being the other side to intelligence gathering, because intelligence is all about finding that nail. For all of you door kickers to smash down. And when intelligence gets it wrong, it gets it really disastrously wrong. Like a colossal fuck up. Because you can't do anything without the information. And again, you can't do anything without a recorded history or traditions. But that's the point, was to obliterate this. Was to cut off everything and watch us starve to death. Now, if you have political aspirations, you got to campaign. You got to go find the money, right? So that you can go across the country representing your party and your affiliations, your supporters, right? Your voters. And somewhere along the line, I don't think Justin had any real aspiration to become prime minister. I really don't. I think he was propositioned. That's what I think. And then the Liberal Party took money from the wrong people. They took money from the wrong people. They did. So, in order for Justin and the Liberal Party to have this money, promises were made. Okay? And we see the result of that come to fruition in this moment. Okay? In May of 2026. Because it doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen overnight. It just doesn't happen overnight. So, again, the best tactic, right? The best tactics as far as the study of waging warfare, right? It is most, as I said at the beginning of this video, it is most beneficial to you as the party that wants something to divide and conquer, right? So that you can watch back while two different groups that you don't like very much destroy each other and then laugh while it happens. I'm not saying I'm participating in such a thing, but if I was, I think everybody would know about it. So, these teachers, a lot of them, I don't think they were on board with this whole Qweerdo butt sex. I really don't. I think that their better sensibilities were taken advantage of, right? And they were naive to believe the people that were telling them these things, because the basis of most religions, actually all religions in the world, is the sanctity of creation. Okay? And somewhere along the line, the anxiety, the fear, and the cockiness of some groups because of historical events, right? We keep going into their conflict zones and doing the cleanup for them, right? Because they keep claiming to be the victim. But that is evil. It's immature, right? And quite frankly, it's blasphemous. It's blasphemous. It's highly offensive, right? We went through all this. I can't digest all of the talking heads who have gone before me about this particular subject, right? So what did they do? Well, they followed the example of those who went before them, right? They started burning books and banning books, in particular ones, and pulling them out of the libraries. And then they just started, particular books, not just books, but doctoral theses, or some doctrines, even manifestos, they were all deleted. They did not get uploaded to Jay's store, right? Someone was picking and choosing. Well, they had control of the information to either aid their fellow man of their denomination, faith, or heritage. And a lot of, again, when it comes to humanity, incompetence is more likely than something nefarious. But when it is nefarious, it sticks out like a sore thumb. It's fucking bloody obvious, right? And all this is how the FBI or the RCMP or MI5, MI6, I can't remember exactly, Interpol, any kind of police organization, okay? Goes about catching repeat offenders. Because eventually they get so cocky that they slip up. And you just got to catch them in the act. And catch them red-handed. Okay, I got you. Right? But prison time is not enough for some people to dissuade them. It's not enough of a deterrence. Because of their fanaticism, right? My time here on earth means nothing. And I do not follow the laws of man. I follow the laws of God. So if you put them in prison, they're ecstatic. They're happy about it. They don't have to worry about a fucking thing. Right? Everything's looked after. This is like one of the thematic elements of any gangster movie. Right? And some people think that, or feel that the government is the biggest, baddest gangsters in the country. Right? So when it comes to again, this history of propaganda, they were under a huge amount of pressure and quite frankly, probably under threat of harm to them, but more likely of harm to their families. And the Trudeaus have, again, I don't know if he's actually still trying to establish this family dynasty. But your aspirations, in my opinion, are like that of Icarus. In that they rose, they wanted to see the sun. But as soon as they got to the top, the wax melted. The feathers went poof. And they fell to the earth again. Or like, what was it, the Tower of Babel, right? People have, again, when I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about, like, say, like the financial crisis of 2008, right? We were on the brink of total collapse because someone couldn't leave the fucking money alone, and they paid someone off to cook the books, quite frankly. The entire industry was doing it, right? And look who paid for it. Iceland went fucking bankrupt. Ireland was close second in line. And then it would have been a cascade event. Like flicking over a row of dominoes. And that, quite frankly, had the potential to become a global conflict. So when I speak to some of you, right, and you've been rushing in to burning buildings and fixing other people's problems, people that sometimes create the problem just to occupy your time, so that you're distracted by something, or that you're leveraged into a position that for which you cannot escape, right? This is elementary, right? It's fucking elementary. So what do you do with, again, by suggestion of the experts who happen to have a concentration in the higher intellectual fields, I'll say like a doctor, a lawyer, a banker, businessman, a merchant. Okay? Oh, we need to help these people because of what happened to them. But in reality, they've been doing it for thousands of years. These inter-family squabbles amongst the inbred, right? So you have someone that says, "Oh, we're getting too inbred. We got to bring some people in. We're going to try and diversify the culture or the country so that some of these genetic defects, get selected out." And then we're going to give these drugs to these people, these other people, because of the fallout of leaded paint, of DET, other environmental contaminants. Basically the sins of corporate culture in this hell-bent, go for broke conflict with the United States and the communists, right? And when you look at history, you can see this thread all the way through this of continuity. And again, sometimes they like to play the villain, and that used to be fun. It's not funny anymore. It's not funny anymore. It really isn't. It's like when you give someone a gift and they turn their nose up at it and say it's not enough. How fucking rude. How ungrateful. Right? You give someone a place to go, and then they fuck you over. Right? Because either they're too stupid and immature, or because they have some strange motivation to destroy everything because of hatred and of rage. So what they did to try and fix the society was go on a campaign of witch hunts in the shadows here, and not necessarily like a physical assassination, but I like, just someone's taking their cashing out their checks a little bit early, and we're going to encourage them to do that. You're cashing out their pension early, and we're going to encourage them to do that. Right? Group psychology is not an abstract concept, right? It's not something that's a boogeyman. Just insufferable. Absolutely fucking insufferable. And this is why we go to war, right? But then you have people who are like, oh, you don't gotta go to war. They're gonna trap us and so on and so forth. But if you continue to put your head in the sand, then they'll chop off your neck while you're not looking. You just bye-bye ostrich. No more ostrich. Right? It's always that choice, down to the ethics and the morality of what we do with our lives and with other people's lives, and how much is one life worth, and so on and so forth. But unfortunately, the physical reality of humanity is that there is a disparity between the educated and the intelligent, and the uneducated and the imbecile. Like, they're physically incapable of planning. They're physically incapable of understanding the consequences 2 or 3 actions thereafter. Right? They can't plan, they don't plan, and they won't plan. And anytime you try to help them, they'll destroy whatever you give them. You know what is the greatest gift? It's not money. It's not power. I'll let you answer that for yourself. I know what it is for me. But I know what it isn't. And it isn't slavery. Right? So if we're going to talk about, we're going to try and deconstruct the Trudeau family here just by what was happening, or just because, you know, Sophie divorced Justin because of the power games. I'll bet $1 on that one. And we have these differences in philosophy because, again, right, it's not just some religious motivation. It's also a societal one in which those that wish to see true equality come to be by any means necessary so as to fulfill either a prophecy or a grandiose 1,000-year plan to become the top. To become the top, to stay on top, and forever be the top. Because they are ordained to be so. And that superiority complex is a problem. It's a problem. Okay? It's a huge fucking problem. It's a problem for everyone. But humanity keeps going back to that button. Saying, I'm greater than thou. But when it comes down to society, again, as I just mentioned, that's a reality that we have to deal with. Is that some people are objectively better at particular things than other people. And jealousy, envy, greed, these are all the thieves of joy. If you want to be able to paint like this, whether you think I'm a fucking terrible artist or not, you have to fucking do it. You have to do it, okay? Because if someone else does it for you, you're not the artist anymore. You're a patsy. I have every right to be angry, you know. I really do. And the consequences of our actions, especially when it comes to generational moments, as we experienced in the past 26 years, right? One of those cycles throughout history in which you have this crux, the cross, between positive and negative energy, as some people would describe it. Or the opportune moment when all of the planets align and the prophecy is fulfilled. The self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, okay, so I'm not in any particular rush to see the end days. But some people are. And I think that's suicidal. I think that's a mockery and an insult to the Creator. If you happen to be native, the great turtle in the sky. Now, when it comes to doing things correctly, in a straight morality, it takes time. But some people want it right now. They want it right here. They want it right now. They want it blazing at 150 decibels. They want this hedonism. They want to be sucking a dick while getting fucked in the ass on MDMA. But that, you know, that's real. That's fucking real. And they'll do anything to keep that. This addiction to luxury, absolute luxury, and a post-scarcity world in which every person has what they need. Because if we give everybody what they need, there won't be any conflicts anymore because, well, what motivation? If we get rid of the differences between people, or we get people to think that there's no differences between me and a black man, or me and a Southeast Asian person, or me and a Russian or African, whatever it is, whatever butt fuck analogy the person comes up with. If we get rid of that, there won't be any more conflicts. Right? It's that John Lennon thing. Imagine. Right? But that was a fantasy. That was a drug-filled fantasy. It was very irresponsible. And then, of course, we have to follow, 50 or 60 years later. Here's something. And I think you'll get that reference. But if you don't, that has to do with James Bond First Light. And again, sometimes it's a rookie mistake. Other times, it's nefarious. It's a cover-up. It's an actual conspiracy. Because the person is running from responsibility and from the consequences. And they were responsible for great offenses to the society and to every individual that they took advantage of. And when it comes to justice, justice is blind. And that's the way it should be. It should remain as unbiased as possible. But that doesn't mean that we should hand everything over to a computer and say and bow down to it and worship it as if it's some Moshiach or some savior, or the second coming. Unfucking believable, guys. Not everyone wants to be your friend. That's a reality that we have to deal with. A physical one. In the here and now. Not some prophecy or some good deed I'm going to do for someone so that I can make gains in heaven with the Father, right? And make myself look good. I am the most virtuous. I am free. I am a representative of all that is good in this world. I make everybody happy. But you can't. You can't make everybody happy. There's such a thing in show business as overstaying your welcome. Right? Hogging the spotlight is another term. Or being a prima donna, a drama queen. And I'll tell you what I think happened here. I think you had a lot of veterans that wanted to be part of something. And someone whispered heavenly things in their ear and promised them something. And what happened? You get the VAC because you're disposable, right? You're a problem. You're a liability. And you're a drain on the coffers. You're no longer useful. Just take your pension and get the fuck out. We don't need you anymore. That's exactly the mindset I'm talking about here. You no longer serve a purpose. You're over the hill. We got something else for you. It's going to give you a 401k. You're going to get $200,000 a year after this. But you're going to have to get your hands dirty. These are our targets. Eliminate them without prejudice. Because if you don't, we'll rape your daughter. And we'll molest your kids. And your grandkids will grow up as transgenders. Again, all this is just speculation. But your first mistake, the first mistake when it came to me individually, was assuming I was fucking retarded. And then treating me like that. You know, there's a lot of disabled people that don't want you to help them. They don't want you to aid them in everything. Because what they really want is independence and self-determination like everybody else. This is the truth, okay? And when deceit, this is George Orwell quote, right? When deceit is the norm, the deceit is the normality. Again, I'm not trying, and my father's name is Norm, so I'm just like, my head is like, careful with that. When deceit is the normality, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. Unfucking believable. Again, because they coddled the children. They tried to bring about this mentality. Oh, if you can do this, you can do this and that. Then the child will come up, will turn out like this or like that, right? And if we throw enough resources at it and social programs, then the kids won't fight each other anymore, and then everyone will live in a utopia, right? We won't have to do this fighting anymore. I'm so tired of having to deal with these people, because they just keep fucking me, right? They just keep fucking me every time, and there's nothing I can do about it. Coercion, subterfuge, and malfeasance. As if we can wave a magic wand or rub a magic lamp and make the world's problems go away. The final solution, quite frankly. Someone sought revenge. Somewhere along the line, they sought revenge. And if we're going to use Israel as an example, that's exactly what they did. They were going around. This is the whole Munich movie, right? Where agents of Mossad, or via agreement, another intelligence agency, they're going around and assassinating anybody that had any connection to the Nazi Party. You know, maybe they're right about that. But, you know, I didn't live in that time. So how am I supposed to know? Guess what? Read a fucking book. Humanity is retarded. Right? Humanity is retarded. Well, okay, so if we get the disabled people to have sex with each other, and their wombs and their sperm is still good, then we can bolster the population. We get them out in the open, and it'll be fantastic. It'll be great. I'm telling you. You know, if we remove the stigmas and we try to get people to, or pressure people into a more acceptable attitude when it comes to those who are disadvantaged, then, you know, it's going to be great. We're gonna rule the world. It's gonna be fucking fantastic, right? We'll be on the top of our game. But the problem is that they thought they had all the time in the world. In the same way with, say, like what is it, the Lehman Brothers? And that was in the movie. It was produced. I watched this. It was a couple of days ago. It was a good example, right, of people who tried to leverage their assets to make gains. But as it is in the Bible, to charge interest on a loan is evil. And again, some people, they seek revenge, and they're like, okay, $1 million is not enough for me, so now I'm going to go and squeeze this guy. I'll squeeze him, squeeze him, squeeze him. I'm going to hustle all of them. But then they fall flat on their face. Because it wasn't meant to be, and because you burned so many bridges along the way. Like Marty Supreme, right? Marty Supreme is a dirtbag. He's a fucking dirtbag. And people will do and say anything to keep their wealth. But the last thing that they'll do is a fucking push-up or a kettlebell swing. Just something for other people. Where they make the excuse of terrible behavior because of the fact that they are doing something for other people. It's not, again, this is not, I'm not going to say this isn't rocket science because, well, rocket science is very well established. You know, we've come a long way since the when we were talking about, like, say, missiles or ballistas. We've come a long way from the Middle Ages, right? In which, as I was reminded by someone earlier today, you know, millions of people were slaughtered because of a difference in belief and the religious foundation. And I'm not going to get into that right now because I want to try and keep this video under 45 minutes. Or actually 40 minutes before I have to edit this and stitch them together in editing. Because I hate editing. I don't like editing. So you have, again, the people that want something, the people that desire something, and those who have the resources to enable those people that want something to get something out of someone that needs something. Excuse me. It is a great shame. It is a great shame. And, you know, how do you mold a person into a contributing member of society? Well, what is a contribution to society, anyways? What is that concept? What is it to give something to society? I think the best thing that we can contribute to society is to ease the burden of ourselves on other people and to enable the people that can accomplish things with very little or no assistance to do so, because they are the leaders of humanity and throughout history. And again, what they were trying to do was to prevent the next Hitler. Okay, they were trying to stop the next Stalin. They're trying to stop the next Pinochet. They're trying to stop the next Tiananmen Square from happening in our own backyards. And this is damned if you do, damned if you don't, because every action is an equal opposite reaction, and then the ripple or the butterfly effect continues thereafter. And eventually, the snake eats itself. Because humanity is retarded. And you can't use medicine to make people better. Make people better people. Not through drugs, not through surgery. The person has to want to be better, whatever that is. You know, by the virtues of the golden rule, which again has to do with the Leviathan, right? The Leviathan is this monster, a biblical monster that is employed by the angels of Satan to do their bidding. Right, and all it wants to do, and all it's supposed to do, or its only purpose is to destroy. And we have to stand up to that Leviathan in order to secure a future for ourselves, and dare I say, out of cliche or trope, the liberty of our children. And again, you know, sometimes Your very existence is a problem for someone else. And you're just going about your day. You're just going about your own business. You know, if I were to say anything to Justin Trudeau, I would say to him that if he wants to keep the things that he has, then he's going to have to flip on it, on his supporters, or the people that supported him. He's going to have to burn a lot of people. Because if you want a dynasty, you got to right the wrongs of history. And that's the whole point of monarchy, is a continuity. To share the traditions and the unspoken knowledge between, or the unspoken bonds between us and other people. Y'all thought I was fucking retarded. And that's retarded. When we don't listen to our gut, and we don't use our own senses and our abilities of perception, then we fail. Or we die. And I would rather fail than die for nothing. Anyways, thank you for watching this 40 minutes using the former Prime Minister as an example of how things go wrong. Because when it comes down to it, I said this, I had a conversation with someone. I'm dehydrated, but fine. Shit. All the balls dropped. That you have, again, this is an oversimplification. You have the merchants, yeah, and then you have the artisans and the creators. Okay, so the people that can do something, and the people that want something, they want to sell something, but they don't want to do the work. Okay, this is in Das Kapital, and even further before that. I say even in the Medici's time. So you have this struggle and this power dynamic between the patrons and the entertainers, because without art there is no life. Without culture there is no reason to live. There is no reason to fight for anything, because you don't have memories, and you don't have connections, you don't have relationships, and you don't have any joy. Fucking heavy, man. It's heavy, right? It's really heavy to think that we could just this mentality every single time it pops up its head. Oh, this, especially with the marketing, right? Because marketing is propaganda light. And in order to sell something, sometimes people overstate their claims because they're under pressure, right? They didn't plan out their future. They didn't do any financial planning. They didn't figure out, oh, how am I going to retire on this, or I have this hobby that I want to make into my daily activity for my golden years or I want to do service to other people, and so on and so forth, as an act of selflessness. But again, this is how the devil works, right? The devil's in the details. Yep. Anyways, I hope you understand what I'm talking about here, because this has been in my head while I'm doing the work, right, as a tradesman. So follow those that have gone before you, like footprints in the sand. Because it's not just Christianity that needs to clean up its act. It's everyone else too.